Hey, and welcome back. Let's sign out the user. So in VS Code, I'm actually going to close everything and then open up our sidebar component. First, we want to work on our handle click function. So down here in the login button, if the user click this, they will be able to sign out. Alright, so in the li tag, I will say on click and then handle click. Let's go up and define that function here. So const handle click. It will be an async function that will take in the value. We want to prevent default and then set up our try and catch block. We're not going to display any toast message, so let's just console log out the error. And now to our try block, let's say await axios.get, and the endpoint is /API/auth/sign out. Next, let's import in Axios. So import Axios from Axios. We will also need our dispatch. So let's say const dispatch use contacts and then use our auth contacts. It didn't auto import, so we just have to manually import it. So import auth contacts from our contacts folder. Alright, back to our try block. First, we want to remove our local storage item. So local storage, remove item, and the item was _app sign in. Next, we want to dispatch our sign out. So type sign out. Now let's give this a quick save and check out our front end. I'll do a hard reload and then click log out. Alright, next let's work on displaying the user information. So back into VS Code. Now let's open up our profile component and then we want to import our user global state. So const user, it will be use contacts and then auth contacts. This time it will auto import for us. So let's scroll down. Let's start with our form. And there's a prop called default value. That's our input component have. So let's use it. And we will set that to user.name. So this will look into our global user state array and get the name object and display it out for us. Next will be our email. So default value, user email. And we also want to set this to be disabled. And then for the to input password, we do not want to display the password, so we'll just leave it like that. Alright, let's give this a quick save. And now open up our avatar component. And we want to do the same thing, so let's import in our user. Const user equal use contacts and then auth contacts. So in the source, we will remove this and then say user avatar. And give that a quick save. Alright, before we test this out, let's open up our user controller. And then in our info, let's expand this. And when we return back the user, let's not return it in an object, but just the user by itself. Alright, let's save this. And now navigate to our front end. I will do a hard reload and then sign in. And here it is. So the text of our email is a little bit light. Let's fix that. So back into our VS Code. Let's open up the input Sass file and make sure our watch Sass is on. Alright. So down here, let's say input type is text. And then we want to say disable. And now let's set the color to be black. Give it a quick save. And let's check our front end. Alright. Now let's work on allowing the user to change the avatar. So back into VS Code. And then into our profile. First, let's set up a avatar state. So let's say const avatar set avatar. It will be use state. And initially we'll set that to false. And after this, we want to pass it into our avatar component. So let's say avatar will be avatar Now let's navigate to our avatar component and receive it as prop. And then down here, we're gonna say if avatar is true, displays the new image avatar that the user just upload, else we just show their existing avatar. Now let's give this a quick save. Now let's navigate back to profile component. Next we want to create a function that allows the user to upload their new avatar. So let's go up here under handle click and say const change avatar. It will be an async function with a value. First we want to prevent the default. Next let's set up our try and catch block. So error. And we also want to import in our toast message. So let's scroll up and here let's say import toast container and then toast from React Toastify and then also the CSS. So React Toastify this and then React Toastify CSS. Alright, let's go back to our change avatar function. So in our catch block, let's say toast error response .data .message and then our options class name toast failed and then our body class name will also be toast failed. Let's also wrap our component in the fragment. So here and then here and then our toast container. Alright, now to our try block. The first thing we want to do is get the user upload file. So get file. After this we want to upload to Cloudinary. Alright, to the first task we want to say const file will be eTarget.files, which is the input when the user press to upload their file. Next we want to say let form data equal new form data append, and we have to call it avatar because that's when we set up our upload function in the backend, and then pass in the file that the user wants to upload. Next we want to upload this to Cloudinary. So down here let's call endpoint and store that in a response. So const res equal await axios.post, and our endpoint was /API/upload. And then we want to upload the form data, which is the user file image. Next we need to pass in our access token. So once again our server is looking for it in the headers. So let's say headers, and then we need to define the content type. So content type, this will be a multi-part /form-data. Next we need to give the token, so authorization and then our token. We need to have a comma right here, and then we also need to get our token. So in the use context, let's get our token. Alright, let's scroll back. After this we want to use another option called on upload progress. This will help us display the progress of the upload. It will be an arrow function which will take in a value, and let's just say x. After this we're going to say if x total size of the image is less than 1 megabyte. Then we want to return a toast message that say uploading. Then next we want to pass in some options. Let's say class name will be bg-upload, and then also body class name will be bg-upload. Next we want to give it an auto close of 7 seconds. And then after this we want to use set avatar and set the new image that the user just upload. So response.data.url. The URL is the new image link that we want to replace the avatar with. Alright, before we save this, let's import in Axios. So let's do it here. Import Axios from Axios. Alright, now let's scroll down to our input avatar, and we want to say on change. It will fire the change avatar function that we just wrote. Now let's save and test this out on the front end. I will do a hard reload Alright, let's upload a new image. I would Here's the new avatar. And if we do a hard reload, it will not save the new avatar because we just upload a new image. We haven't really saved it to our database. And this is what the update button is for. So in our next lesson, we will actually save all the changes. We'll see you then.